All right. Good evening, Internet. I don't know if you're here. Hopefully you got the message that we're doing a little bit of a live stream tonight. And I completely forgot what day it was going to be today. And it's one that is fairly infamous. We get it about, what, a couple times a year at least. It is Friday the 13th. And let's see here. I did want to bring this up real quick. Where do I got you? Yeah, sorry. Scrambling around to get this going. Didn't have enough time to do a proper setup. I hope you could forgive. So I'm going to get this up. And it wouldn't be a Friday the 13th without a little bit of this kind of shenanigans. All right. That's going to be enough of that before we get hit with the copyright claim, which it probably will get me anyways, but not monetize. Not like anybody's going to make money out of it, especially not me. But one thing I did want to do for tonight is not kind of discuss the movies, but more of the date. And I think a lot of us are familiar with the one of the origin stories where Cat, this is not a good time to interrupt me. Or this is a perfect time for you to extort treats out of me. Is that it? Yeah? Well, too bad. So I think we're all kind of familiar a little bit with the origin where it was like Friday the 13th during one of the last Crusades. I think the Pope issued an order to forcefully disband the Knights Templars across the globe, where every kingdom was able to just imprison them with impunity, take their assets, especially France, since they owed the Knights Templar a boatload of money, and do what they did to them. Okay, now you're scratching me. Fine, fine. You're almost as bad as Roxy whenever this microphone comes up here. Got to beg, beg, beg. All right. So I thought, there's got to be some other worse bad day other than that. And Business Insider actually has an article about that. And I had to use the Wayback Machine because Business Insider won't let you look at this unless it is, or unless you're signed in. So we're going back to, I guess, this is close to when the article originally was posted. Skip by. Oh yeah, there's a name for phobia of the Friday the 13th. I don't think I could say that. This word right here. Frigatrice I have no idea what it means, or if it's like a Latin origin or what. That is the most weird phobia I think I have ever heard of. And a little couple of tidbits here. Looks like research into this, 700 to 800 billion dollars is lost every Friday the 13th. Oh, Bacon, you want me to zoom in? I could probably do that. Let me know, chat, if that's a lot more visible for you. Is that good enough, Bacon? I wasn't asking you, Cat. I was asking Bacon. All right. Well, if you need it bigger, just let me know. I'll go ahead and keep rolling through. Yeah. So nearly $1 billion is lost every Friday the 13th because people are too afraid to shop, travel, and conduct business. And you know what? I can't exactly blame them. I had a buddy of mine when I was stationed out in Georgia. He always carried a katana around in the back of his car just for this day, just in case. So now we got a couple of notable days that coincide with oh Jesus, bacon. Really? I'm gonna have to put this tab over here so I can look at it and then see your hilarious comments. Oh, well, Vanda, we'll take a look at that here in a moment. But yeah, evening to you too. So yeah, Buckingham Palace, September 13th, 1940. It got bombed to shit. Unfortunately, the Wayback Machine can't bring up the photos. The original article, if you look at it for more than 30 seconds, it brings up that thing. But I saw the devastation, and it was kind of shitty. Oh, there we go. Couple of people here trying to slowly get themselves in. Oh, jeez, I saw it now, Mando. I'm gonna bring it up. Nope, because I could only share one thing at a time. We'll bring that up later. Uh, Tupac Shakur passed away September 13th, 1996. Even though he, what, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, yeah, 6 days after he was shot. A British 13-year-old was struck by lightning on a Friday the 13th. Of all the things to be worried about with a Friday the 13th, lightning was um, not on my list. All right. Kitty Genovese was attacked and murdered in Queens. I don't know about this one. We'll read this one a little bit. Murder of Kitty Genovese took place on March 13, 1960. Apparently, I can't speak. Also, if my audio sounds terrible, I'm a little under the weather, so that could be it as well. Uh, According to New York Times, she was violated and deleted by Winston Moseley inside an apartment building. Oh, the crime is famous. Oh, this is why I thought I recognized this. The crime is famous because out of the 38 people who probably witnessed the attack, no one said anything and nobody called it in because they all thought, well, somebody else will do it. Someone else will do it. Hey, Brian, good to see you here. Audio sounds fine. Thank you. Hey, Sorrow. Hey, fair enough, man. This one probably isn't going to go long. This one's just going to be probably pretty short. Costa Concordia cruise ship ran aground off the coast of Italy. January 13th, 2012. I think I remember that one. Kansas experiences record-breaking amount of floods and rain. Okay. Oh, I guess you guys in Kansas call it the Black Friday. Oh, God. Stock market crash on a Friday 13th. Of course. Flight through the Andes ended in disaster and death. 571. This is not too long ago, if I remember correctly. At the time of the tragedy, Aeroloft 217 was the worst plane crash in Russian history. All 174. Oh, it's not the same one I was thinking of. Okay. Oh, jeer. The first Grand Wizard of a Triple K club was born on Friday the 13th, 1821. Man. Hey, Kelly. Nice to see you there. Computers fell victim to Friday the 13th virus. I did not hear about this one. January 13, 1989, a computer virus swept through the UK. According to LA Times, hundreds of computers were affected, which deleted the personal files, specifically on the unlucky date. That's just some computer nerd having a fun time. The Bola cyclone hit Bangladesh. All right, storm officially ended on November 13th, 1970, but effects still being felt today. The cyclone is still the deadliest storm in the Bay of Bengal. Death toll and whoa, 150,000 and nearly 500,000. That's a bad day. Swedish flight DC-3 vanished and was never heard from again. I'm not familiar with this one. According to National Geographic, a Swedish flight disappeared while flying over the Baltic Sea on June 13th, 1952, and for 40 years, the Swedish government stuck by the story that the plane was performing training exercises. However, National Geographic reported that in the 90s, it was leaked that crew members were actually spying on the Soviet Union for NATO. Oh, well, I think we know where it went down. Somewhere in that massive space that they have. And, somebody who was supposed to be here is not here. He was looking for a link, and hopefully he can find it, but I'll just give it to him straight up. All right. Move on to the next one. The city of Buffalo was hit by a freak blizzard. It's been called the October Surprise. Oh, and we got somebody in here. Let's go ahead and welcome to the stage, Big Tail Outlaw.
Hold on, brother. Let me mute.
All right. Yep, come back in when you're ready, man. It's been called the October Surprise from October 12th to 13th, 2006. Western New York was hit by a 2 feet of snow. All right, I understand that. That's no fun. No fun at all. Over 300,000 people were left without power. Thousands of trees were damaged. The WBO declared, well, yeah, I would hope you would declare a state of emergency.
All right.
All right. Oh, you had a little graphic day just for this, eh?
Oh yes. How could I resist, man?
Mm-hmm.
I had a version of it where she was holding up Jason by the arm because she killed him. But I didn't.
Yeah,
get
she needs a machete instead of the 6-shooter.
I didn't get it put together in time. But yeah.
Yeah, I know. The sucky part about work, as much downtime as I get, it's on a separate system from my personal computer, so I could probably put things together, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
It shouldn't be doing that at work anyways. So I'll take care of what I can take care of ahead of time, like tracking an article down like this. Oh, what do we got here from Bacon? Oh, Ford likes your avatar.
Oh, thank you.
All right. October sounds like finding out your dad via a baby showing up at your doorstep. Oh. Well, there's also another October surprise, but that only happens on election seasons, which we are in now, and we are what? It's the 13th today. We're halfway through September, and October is coming up. Not going to be good. I'll just say that. Sam Patch plunged to his death in the... That sounds like your neck of the woods. Is that Hennessy?
Hold on. Handos showed up. Put him in.
Yep.
Hey, finally
Hey,
got the audio to work.
cool. Awesome. All right.
Nice. Okay, so what are we discussing here?
Pretty much I just found a article that went out because a lot of us are familiar with one of the origin stories of Friday the 13th
Mm-hmm.
involving the Knights Templar and their destruction.
Mhm.
So I was curious as to what other notable Friday the 13th are there in history. And Business Insider did an article on it. But I
Spoiler
had
alert.
to use the Wayback Machine because Business Insider is SO and you need to be logged in order to
Oh
see.
yeah.
You want to hear something kind of funny, Sean?
Go.
If you look back at flight logs from the First World War, there
Mm-hmm.
were no aircraft in the air over combat zones on any Friday the 13th during that war.
You said World War One,
Yep.
like throughout the entire war.
Yeah. That was the 124-hour period during the war that there were no flights going on. At least not with motorcraft.
Yeah, well, planes were in their infancy, especially in military applications back then. Um, if it was like 1 year, I would say that's coincidence. But out of what the 3 to 4 years,
Yeah, for at least
what
those
is it?
four years.
So the aviators got well, aviators are superstitious.
Well, back then they had a reason to be.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, the rest of the article here. Sam Patch was America's first professional daredevil. Throughout his life, he jumped through great heights, including the Niagara Falls twice. Don't you dare, Commie Cat. Your idea of a pet me tap is to tap and then dig those claws in. I don't like it. Yes, hang your head in shame. She's going to claw me here in a minute. Uh-oh. Looks like
Yeah,
Outlaw might be having some difficulties, but he knows how to get back in here. So back to the article. When he decided to jump the high falls of the, I don't know how to pronounce that. I want to say it's Genesee,
yeah,
but
It's either
yeah,
Genesee.
okay. No one thought to be concerned, but apparently Kid Quick something was wrong. While some speculated that he was drunk, daredevils and alcohol. That seems to go together. Um, It's never been known for sure because probably because there was never any bodies recovered. Patch, when he jumped into the river, but on November 13th, Patch took this yearly predicted jump. His body was found 4 months later. Oof, that sucks. And just real quick, please, I've got a knock at my door, so I'll just take myself off camera. It's probably just Kiddo going. When's this order coming? Because he just 2 minutes left. Dad, I want a chicken sandwich. I'm like, what? I'm live in 2 minutes. Yeah, you could order in 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, you little. Mm. So I'll be right back in a minute.
Uh, well, this is awkward.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I probably should have tried hunting down a few articles on my end to because
No, that's okay.
I was thinking about doing something kind of like this, but when I was starting to put things together, one, no one actually expressed an interest, and two, well, my audio decided to visit the latrine.
Mm-hmm. That's how Murphy's Law works.
Oh yeah,
All right.
Hopefully on this calendar date.
So I'm familiar with this. It's in the future, but according to geek.com, an asteroid will come within 22,000 miles of Earth. That figure keeps getting revised. Or this is from about 2018, and this article has been revised several times. I'll see if I can pull up the real one, and if we
Well,
can get it
or-
for a second.
Long story short, it's about a 1 in 20 chance that Apophis will actually impact somewhere on Earth at that time.
Yeah. And the closer we get to 2029, the more that trajectory gets better mathed out. All right. And that is the last one for this. I want to see if we can get copy. How far we can get, because there's an interesting thing about COVID in here.
Really?
Oh, God. Yep. So apparently the official first day of the we're not going to be able to get it because it's already flagged my IP address as being in here. Actually, I might be able to do it through a.
Do you want to try shooting me?
No, damn it.
Hey,
I was hoping an incognito window would work, but it's not.
hey,
All right.
Sean.
Yep.
Try shooting me the link. I will open another window, share the screen, put it up, and we'll see if we can backdoor it that way.
All right. Okay. While we're doing that, I'm going to bring up your picture. So it's in your gilded DMs.
Yep, it fits with today.
Oh, it most certainly does.
And if you're a fan of the individual, you'll find it quite hilarious.
Yep, because it's got the thing on it. Friday the 13th gets, oh God, we
Friday the 13th gets Frigatrix, however the hell it's pronounced, Phobia from Chuck
Norris.
Okay,
no, that's cool.
It's not gonna let me share the screen on my end.
Yeah, no, it's
on
too
gilded.
quick.
Well, no, there's something going on.
Yeah, Cliff, that's what we were using, is the Wayback Machine. Well, I might be able to use Wayback Machine for, let's say, the day prior.
Maybe.
Hold on. Doing a couple things here. Somebody just responded in Gilded. I'm going to send them something real quick. I know. I'm being a terrible host.
Well, it could be
But I'm
worse.
the only one out there at the moment. Yes,
hey.
I could be doing so much worse. Yeah. Did you need to say something, Amanda?
No, I was just gonna say it could be worse. You could have had the Friday the 13th I had.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I can go ahead and share what happened. It's a nice little semi-comedic misadventure. I get paid on Fridays for my workplace every week.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I do every Friday morning before I go to work is go get gas for the week.
Okay.
Well, I go into the gas station nearest to where I'm at, and we've got some individual of a certain ethnicity that I'm sure you'll be able to guess which one from the rest of the story, yelling at people about being istophobe igots, as Pop would put it.
Oh, lovely.
And this guy's just going around to everyone in the gas station, basically being a royal hind end for no good reason. I'm doing my best to ignore him. I get up to put in my pre-order for my gas, and he comes up and starts accosting me. I listen to him for all of 30 seconds because we've all heard the nonsense before.
Mm-hmm.
And then he makes the mistake of grabbing me.
Oh.
I look at him and go, you really don't want to do that. And he starts getting stupid about it. And I'm like, you don't want to do that because if you look behind me, there's a member of the city police department right there, and everything you did is right on his body cam.
Oh.
Well, he looked. He started spazzing. Police officer goes, do you want me to arrest this guy? I'm like, yes, please.
Oh, nice. You pressed?
Absolutely.
Good. People fuck around and find out. Some people think that they're immune to all this.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not. Don't ever think you're immune to any of that because the pendulum swings. And when the pendulum swings towards our desired location, a lot of people are going to be,
Having a bad day.
yeah,
They're going
it
to have
just happened on the 13th on a Friday.
Yeah, they're probably going to have a month of Friday the 13th.
For quite a bit. So we do have another guest who just walked right in. We'll go ahead and bring him up.
Yay! More the merrier.
Yeah.
Nate.
That guy's overrated. I wouldn't let him in here.
Oh, nah, he's good people most of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is buddy Two Leg though? That's someone you got to kind of keep an eye on though.
Well, he can reach out and touch you from far, far away.
Yeah, he's really good at that.
So can Pop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The perks of being a weapons sergeant in the Green Berets. But yeah,
Yep.
Nate, we just been talking about the day Friday the 13th and some briefly touched on like what is considered, I think, the origin story about the Knight Templars and their destruction. And we found some other infamous Friday the 13th days.
Yeah. All a myth. Sometimes things line up, other times they don't. So
Mm-hmm. But there is a superstition about it for a reason.
well, yeah. It's not wrong about that, but if you actually look at history in human events over millennia, everything happened, every major event seems to coincide in what is now the September through November time frame, whether you're doing on the Gregorian calendar or any other calendar throughout millennia.
Yep, there's a Messianic rabbi who did an entire book talking about that.
Yep. It's that same, I don't know why, but it is that same time window between September and November. That's when every major event occurs.
That's just probably coincidence, not like maybe a changing of the seasons. Because, well, depending on where you are, seasons change. But September for most of us is the beginning of fall. I think for some south of the equator, it's the beginning of their summer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I can't even posit a theory unless it's deliberate that these things happen during those times.
I could give you the theory that the individual that wrote the book gave, but it's religious. It would bore everyone to death, and I don't think you would bring that into your program.
All right. Well, okay. So, Cliff, I did use the Wayback Machine again. I just picked an earlier date. This one I kind of found interesting. You have to forgive there are no pictures because of Wayback Machine. But apparently, March 13th, the Friday, 2020, is considered the first official day of the pandemic.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just going to point out that with as much as the superstition is kind of interesting, maybe a little fun for those that are mentally questionable, this
Like
is
me.
this is all a massive coincidence.
Oh, it probably is. I mean,
I
out of all the Friday the 13th in history, we just had like that list of 17 to 18 that are notables.
and
But it's like, what is it? Uh, it's a superstition in, you probably know this, the medical industry, whenever there's a full moon out. Anybody who's been on ER staff.
well,
Yeah.
depending on who you're talking to, there might actually be a sliver of truth to that particular superstition.
There is.
Yeah, I've heard like because of the position when it's fully lit up, for some reason there's a like a magnetic effect on our brains that
Well,
makes the crazy more susceptible to happening.
well, Crusader Two Leg and I were talking about this a little bit last night.
Mhm.
There are different magnetic and radiological events that can occur that will impact the human brain, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a theory out there that when the moon is full, there is some kind of interaction between its magnetic field and the Earth's magnetic field. I'm not going to try to explain it because it's one of these things that it's written in such a way where it's circular logic.
The best I could think of how that works is it's reflecting the most amount of sunlight off of the moon's surface and hitting our eyes. So it could
Nope.
have something to do with that bounce back of radiation. That would be the
Nope.
first to come to mind. No? What's your
Nope.
theory, Nate? Or what do you
All
know?
right. What I know is a pretty long list.
I thought you know nothing. Or is that the only thing you certainly know?
It's all I know is that I know nothing.
Nice
And
Plato
that's the,
there.
yeah, well, that's the enigma wrapped in a conundrum. So figure that one out first. What we do know is we can all attest that lunar cycles in positions of the moon at certain times does impact tidal flow, correct?
Mhm. Yeah, gravitational field impacting it.
Okay. All right, man, a question for you.
Yeah,
What
fire
percent of the
away.
human body is water?
Oh, about 70%, give or take.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the moon is going to impact tidal flow, which is water, 100% water, will the lunar gravitational pull and the ability of that minor level of gravity, will that have an effect on all forms of water?
Oh,
Yes or no?
logically speaking, absolutely.
And we are 60 to 70% water. Simply speaking, yes, it has an effect on us.
But is it the effect that people speculate or have the superstition?
No. We had a rather interesting conversation last night, and I've had a few of these conversations with a few other members of the community. We are all affected by our environment. We can all agree to that.
Mhm.
Now, the sun burps out. We got geomagnet. We have coronal mass ejections. Not like that. Not every CME is a Carrington level event. There are big ones. There are
Mhm.
little ones. There's minor ones that cause northern lights. There's little things, and all of those will hit the Earth, and the Earth will build up an electric charge, like a capacitor. It'll build up a certain amount of energy, and then it will release it. Okay. When it releases it through ground lightning. It releases it through other forms to discharge the energy it's been storing and it's been collecting. What happens is that will ionize the air. What then happens, I don't understand this completely, but this will actually make more severe storms, which will cause greater problems, which will lead to upper atmospheric weather variations in pressure, which will cause high and low pressure systems to move and to change. And the human body is 60 to 70% water. High pressure, imagine yourself squeezing a water bottle. That will cause. Yeah, Amanda?
I actually have a little bit of an answer to that one when it comes to storms specifically. And
Okay.
this comes from the guy that I listened to on Thursday evenings and why I had to duck away so rapidly.
Okay.
You're not off the mark when you're talking about the storms and the atmospheric pressure, but apparently the plasma discharges that the sun has been giving off that we have been in the unfortunate position to intercept and receive for the last about year or so, that actually has been causing atmospheric compression in different bands on the Earth.
Right.
Which
and that's based on solar cycles.
Yeah, which is why some of our storms have been really super intense this last couple of years, and others have been more nothing burgers than the Russia collusion hoax.
Right. And I believe it's is it a 14 or 28 year cycle for solar maximum and solar minimums? And
it's 11 years for the solar min max cycle.
Okay.
Give or take.
Yeah, there's a variation in that. And depending on where we are in the solar cycle, which will dictate how the sun will react, and the sun rotates in a 28-day cycle system, and that will either expose or remove different pooling areas of different gases on the sun, which will actually increase or decrease the number of
sunspots and magnetic field anomalies.
Right. And you take all that into consideration and how that actually impacts and affects our barometric pressure on Earth, which also affects the higher low pressure systems on our bodies specifically, which when you put anything under stress or pressure, it will alter the way it'll function. Now, that goes all the way down to the neuron. That actually goes all the way down to the brain. And not many people understand that in order for a neuron to actually fire, every neuron, I believe it's 0.7 millivolts of energy of electricity that it actually grounds when it actually makes a neural connection.
That sounds
Now, if you have all of these different things impacting each other, and if you have something that's as small as 0.7 millivolts going to a ground, is that going to be affected by an ion charge or increased or decreased barometric pressures, allowing or impeding the flow of that electrical current in a highly fluid environment?
Is the current vice president known to have slept her way to this hop?
Theoretically.
Allegedly.
That was intended as a rhetorical answer to a semi-rhetorical question.
So will lunar eclipses affect behavior? Yes. For a number of reasons.
Okay. I just had a random crazy thought, but before I ask it, Sean, how risky are you willing to risk going on this channel?
How risky are you thinking about?
I'm thinking that this might be roughly PG-13.
No, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Nate, since you know this better than I do, at least on the timing, I just want to know if you think this tracks. The sun has a roughly 28-day cycle for its rotational rate, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
The moon also has a roughly 24-day cycle for its rotational rate around the Earth.
Mhm.
The human female has a roughly 28-day cycle for her event.
Yeah.
Does that mean all three of the females in most men's lives are all synced?
Could
More
be.
than likely.
You get where I'm going with this?
Allegedly, it happens in adult human females.
All right, you all get where I'm trying to go with this, right?
Nature's on her period.
Basically, yeah. I'm and this
Yeah.
year and this year the sun's period is just having a really bad month.
Yeah.
Right. Is there any other way you can logically explain it?
Logic.
Simple
No.
solutions tend to be the correct ones.
Yeah, Occam's razor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not to mention it leaves the opening for individuals like Pop and myself to have snarky jokes at people's expense that they're going to look at us and go, "What are you even talking about?"
Oh, they'll go over their head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the
Good.
the the one thing that I'll ask a question, and I've yet to see anybody raise the same question. Um, globally speaking, where does, if you were to look at species ovulations for mammals, how close is that cycle to either a full moon or a new moon, or is it half, or where exactly does it start, and roughly where does it end? Do the fertility windows and cycles line up with the full moon or the new moon, or are they impacted by that, or are they on a completely different offset cycle?
Okay. I know this isn't a mammal, but there are certain species of sea turtles that their hatching patterns are tied directly to lunar cycles.
Yes, because that's the only light they have when they hatch, when they go enter the ocean for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think if we can create correlation, we may not know causation, but we may be able to find correlation that is predictable enough.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. For those of us that are still fortunate enough or unfortunate, depending on your point of view, to be in a relationship, it gives you the time when you need to schedule your camping trip for the week.
Week.
Week,
Um,
month,
Isn't
maybe a
that
year.
yeah? Isn't that well?
Right.
I meant your week-long camping trip to get away for the month.
Maybe two.
That may be something. I don't know.
Right.
Dude, if you know your girl's schedule, maybe come back here, visit the stream, or visit the what is it, the VOD or the video on demand of this version later, and tell us if it coincides with the lunar cycles
Or if
or
we're
any
all,
specific point of the lunar cycle.
or if we're all just full of fecal matter.
Or am I
Yeah.
just absolutely insane?
Well, Crusader, you and I are both probably three flavors of insane that no one's diagnosed yet.
Well, sanity. What is that? What is this word I hear of, but never actually felt or understood?
Yes.
Yeah. Join the club.
Yeah, like sleep. Sleep. What is this thing?
Yeah.
What is this thing you speak of?
I'd like to get a little more of it, but usually something happens and prevents me from, getting a inadequate size sample.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, you of all people would know that with my schedule.
Oh, yeah, you're busy, 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 and I understand that too. Being military for a long time and deployments, and yeah, there are times they go, look, I know we're only supposed to Not only, what's the right phrasing?
We know you're in
They
luck.
know they have to give us a minimum of 4 hours of sleep, but they're like, you're not going to get that. Mission needs.
Yeah.
You're up for 24 hours, or you're over 24 hours, and you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
like,
Or you're on a convoy,
light.
or you're on a convoy
Yeah.
for 24.
Yeah.
Well, I know this week, 23 years ago, I didn't go home for 14 days straight.
Yeah.
Damn.
That relates.
I'm not going to ask because I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to talk about that.
We had a lot of work to do. We were, there were major global events occurring and within the next 6 months, and the entire rule book was rewritten in a matter of hours, and everything had to be aligned. So it was definitely all hands on deck. Anybody and everybody who had more than 2 brain cells rubbed together that had any experience was called in, and waiting to see what needed to be done, what had to be done, and what was not a pressing issue, but what we could do to assist.
Well, I do know it managed to get you bumped up to first class, thankfully, because you had an insufferable fellow passenger, and they're like, well, you know what? Lieutenant brought you up in front of the plane, and you couldn't help but notice everybody in the pathway to the cockpit was extremely fit.
Oh, yeah. It was a gauntlet to go down any of the aisles of an aircraft for like the first 3 years after that occurred.
I remember.
I could not blame them for doing that.
No, I don't blame them at all for doing that. It was just kind of like everybody like smirk and look around like, if you know, you know, and that's all you needed to do.
Uh-huh. Yup.
Yeah. Any fighting age male between, I'd say, 20 and 50 were pretty much put on aisle side seats on every aircraft.
Yes, and that was before the mind virus took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, much like any other event in human history, this too shall pass, and everybody's going to forget. I mean, look at how riled up everybody was, 23 years ago to where they are today. And 5 years, 10 years from now, what we're experiencing now will go away.
Oh yeah. But
the only consistent thing in life is change.
But the jokes and memes will last forever.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. It's gonna be funny. Archaeologists are gonna look at this time during the creation of memery and go, "What the fuck were these people thinking?"
Well, okay. Crusader, I'm pretty sure
they're not going to have context for half the memes that we currently use today.
No.
Crusader, I'm pretty sure that your answer would be a hard no. But Sean, what would you want to be put in cryogenic suspension for 100 years and then woken up and have a historian ask you, so what was it actually like living in X date to X date?
I'd be amazed that I actually survived cryo.
Yeah.
Let's just say sometimes.
Besides that, well, the next question would be like, why am I in cryo? I mean, did I do something wrong? Are we in Demolition Man now, or did I have a disease and I decided to go full Walt Disney?
Let's just say that
Walt Disney, but no, that would be interesting.
Let's just say that
I won't recognize, probably using vernacular I won't recognize, and they're asking me what was it like back in the late 1900s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
and be like, well, they were interesting times, and we got really fucking tired of living in interesting times.
Well,
I know my answer would be, long story short, we were just ready for World War III to start so we could move on to the next stage.
Yeah, right? It'd be nice if the next turning was let's say, bloodless one. But we know the turnings are never so sweet.
Well,
nope.
We've got plenty of paintball courses all throughout this country. It wouldn't be hard to get all parties involved to go to one of them, or just turn one of these big mega stadiums that we have into a giant paintball course and just let people go nuts.
See, Mando, your question about if we could successfully cryo someone and revive them, a century or whatever later, part of me would think it would be kind of fun to do that.
Okay.
I could see Nate having a smirk about this.
I mean, would I deliberately insinuate something happened or didn't happen? Or would I, for, what's the Hog Slayer's favorite phrase? When someone does something stupid?
Well, you fucking with it?
Now, Mando, being around me as much as you have, do you think I would be doing that with them 100 years later?
Probably something along those lines, yeah. Your answer would probably be something along the lines of, "Yeah, we're fucking with it."
Well, no, I would be fucking with them 100 years later.
Oh, that too.
I would have so much fun messing with people's minds. Just for my own entertainment.
See, here's the way I see it. There could either be one of these things where it goes full on idiocracy, which
very likely.
Which I would wake up in that and go, "Oh, great, I'm in hell." Or we would be lucky and it was something akin to a just slightly more advanced version of the 1950s. By that I mean where people actually have something resembling values and principles, even if they aren't necessarily ones that I would recognize.
Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards idiocracy at this point.
We're definitely on a fast track towards that.
Flanders, go to parade rescue.
I mean, we're live, so I can't really mess with them.
Well, I think one way I would like to screw around with them would be something around the era of any paranormal thing I can think of. Just pretend it was a normalcy. And let them kind of break their minds about it. Like we talk about UFOs, cryptids, USOs. We could tell them, "Oh, have you been to Antarctica yet?"
I would hardcore mess with them about seeing Sasquatch, about seeing. I would bring up some of the old wives' tales and some of the old urban legends, like, oh yeah, this was actually real. This actually occurred, just to watch them freak out.
Yeah, Crusader.
Yeah.
If female beauty standards continue to devolve in the way that they have in the last 20 years, you'll probably wake up to a Sasquatch.
You're not wrong. I mean, we have some now in our current timeline.
Yeah, I dated one.
I never have.
Let me put it this way. I tested out the theory of, yeah, you can fall in love with someone's personality. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I could have told you that.
there's more parameters required to fill that.
Yeah, the amalgamation of levels of attraction and what it actually takes to be attracted to somebody in a full-fledged relationship in a situation that would actually culminate into something concrete. There
Yeah.
are
I-
a number of influencing factors that you're going to need a slide rule and about a lifetime of calculations to
Crusader,
figure that out.
Crusader, long story short, I learned my lesson. I got the cosmic pee slap, and now I'm trying to use my bad fortune to teach other guys not to walk into that guillotine. It hurts.
Yeah, well, some of us like to play with fire.
Well, okay.
Oh, now I need to get a clip of the fuck around and find out.
Well, Crusader, we all
Yes.
enjoy a lit match from time to time. It's
You're
just
not wrong.
It's just whether we use it to burn a photograph of somebody that we never want to see again, or if we inadvertently burn down the entire bloody neighborhood.
Well, sometimes you got to go all the way for good measure.
Well, that's when you nuke the entire site from orbit. That's the only way to be sure.
You're not wrong about that.
Which could actually be classified as a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, let me guess. It happens on a Friday the 13th.
Honestly, what I'm getting at there is you're doing something completely unrelated. Something stupid happens, and you're like, well, the only way this could be worse is if it was on ...
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, being an EMS, I've seen some weird things happen on Friday the 13th, but some of the most, let's just say, memorable events didn't happen on Friday the 13th.
Well, Crusader, would you agree that some of the most superstitious mother fornicators on the planet are in the medical field?
Not really. If you want to see superstitious individuals, go to, from my experience, team medics for high-speed groups.
That's kind of sort of where I was indirectly going.
Well, that's a completely different realm of it. I mean, medical, you're talking doctors, nurses, CNAs, and they have a level of superstition. But when you get to the guys that have been to been and seen and witnessed some crazy events, oh yeah. I'm not going to deny when I was doing that, I when I was a medic, I was very superstitious.
Well, let me put it this way. My mom worked as a nurse's aide in nursing homes for several years.
Don't tell Rhino.
No, at this point, he would be the one Rhino would be going after. And then, I'm sorry, I like the guy, but I'd have to do a T800 on him.
I just had to take the opportunity to say that.
Oh, I know. I'm just being blunt here and getting as close to the line as I can on YouTube without actually crossing it.
Yeah, I'll insinuate near the line, but that's about as far as I'll go.
Pretty much.
But, yeah.
But now, what my mom
all we need is a that's what she said.
Well, what my mom pointed out
Coming later.
on Friday the 13th, full moon nights, Halloween nights, and certain other nights of the year, that's when all the weirdness seemed to happen at various homes that she would work at. If you name something that could potentially be paranormal, she either saw something like it or she knew someone that saw something like it.
Don't get me wrong. I've seen some paranormal things that I myself cannot logically explain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've been there for a couple of those stories.
There's some that I won't even talk about.
My personal favorite's still the box truck.
That was nothing. That was just another everyday.
No, what I'm getting at is you have to be supernaturally stupid to allow yourself to get to that point.
Well, yeah, but there have been worse ones though. But the best one was telling that story and hearing people dry heaving in the background.
If I had popcorn, you would have heard me crunching on it going, yeah, go
Well,
on.
I'm pretty sure some of the team was doing that as they were trying to get this lady into the box truck to be evacuated to the hospital.
Dude, you know what's bad, Sean? You know the big nylon net that they use in aircraft for securing cargo?
Oh, for securing cargo? Yeah.
We had the Air National Guard send one of those to us to move a person.
And what didn't that one start to have structural failures?
Yes, and the seams were starting to bust.
Oh, no. Did
I
it break?
remember that story.
Parts of it did.
Oh, Jesus. Well, how someone can get so large. And for the audience, you don't know this story.
And you don't want to know the story either.
You don't want to know the whole story, but this subject was what, north of 500?
I would easily say half a ton or greater.
See, for audience
It's like 1,000 pounds.
Crusader and I used to work in fields where the phrase quarter tonner wasn't referring to pickup trucks.
No,
Mhm.
people. No.
I mean, I can't imagine somebody of that size would even fit in an ambulance.
Well, no, some of them don't.
It's the box truck.
Well, actually, there are bariatric ambulances that actually have bigger doors.
And more
they're actually-
prevention.
Yeah, they're designed to carry people like that. Now, when you have a bariatric extraction like that, when Pop has made the phrase of people being chainsaw fat, yeah, they bring the building inspector. They look for the electrical. They look for gas lines. They look for plumbing. And they look structurally where they can cut a hole in the wall to remove someone.
Oof.
I've been there.
And for anyone curious, I worked in the OR, and when we would get patients like what Crusader's describing, we would have to have reinforced gurneys specifically for them, that we couldn't move them off of the gurney onto a standard OR table.
No, someone tells me they crushed the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what a normal operating room table is made out of?
I'm gonna guess aluminum.
No. Load-bearing components are stainless steel.
Yep.
With hydraulic pistons
Should
on the
be.
interior.
Pretty weight resistant, but
Yeah.
To a point.
it up to a point, yes.
Now, Sean,
Hmm.
how much weight can a hydraulic press tolerate?
Depends on the press.
I don't even know how much of a rough guess it'd be.
Okay, let me just put it this way. We had one of these individuals come in when I was stationed in Germany.
Hmm.
This was somebody who was just at the threshold where we could move them onto the table from their gurney. And the gurney started, or not the gurney, but the table started sinking after we put this person on it.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Guess what the failure was?
the hydraulic pump.
The hydraulic
Yeah.
press blew.
Oof. That's impressive.
Like I said before, we had 31 or 32 guys holding an airframe cargo net, like the three was it 3.5 4-inch nylon webbing that's sewn together to be. It's a little bit thicker than a seat belt, but it's sewn together to be a big cargo net.
Mhm.
Guys were holding on to that, and we were counting 1, 2, 3, lift up, and we would go maybe 2 or 3 inches, set down, and the person was so heavy, we were abrading their skin because we were barely able to lift them to slide them 2 inches at a shot.
Oh.
Uh,
Whoa.
going
Sean,
back,
you think
kind of.
that? Go ahead,
So
Mando.
I was just going to try to bring this back in generally the direction where he was trying to take it, because we're going deep into what is normally after
Oh, no,
party.
that's okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. I only
Well,
had a very little bit of actual Friday the 13th material. I was figuring to get through the article and probably do more BS session.
oh, okay, so we're good then.
We're kind of we're at the BS session, but the closer we can stick to the original programming is ideal, but it's not being made mandatory.
Okay.
Well, that pickup actually wasn't on a Friday the 13th, but Sean, if you think just a person that large makes your skin crawl, just imagine what it smelled like.
I don't want to know because I was across the street from Baghdad's wastewater facility that was defunct since the invasion.
Yeah.
Let's just say my immune system was pretty good. I never got sick after that deployment for like 5 or 6 years.
Well, and
Flu would never get me. The cold wouldn't get me. My immune system was probably running 24/7 out there in Baghdad.
well, and Sean, you know me well enough. When I start giggling like that, is the answer ever a good one?
It depends on who's receiving or who's hearing it. Because every once in a while, I'd be like, "Oh, I know what he's doing," or it's gonna be, well, yeah, he's talking about the smell of somebody who is probably, from what I remember of the story, they were kind of rotting away on a couch.
Yeah, they were septic, if I remember the story correctly.
Yeah, that multiple bed sores. They were.
Yeah, so she's pretty much in states of decay, but alive.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, that's about the best way to put it.
Yeah, Broken Pine put a good comment up there about whale on the port bow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some of these patients, like what Crusader's describing, a whale would look at it and go, "I need to work harder."
Yeah.
Or
Some of them.
you could make the whale say, "I need to go to the gym."
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Well,
That is just wrong. I love it.
yeah, I've had some pretty crazy Friday the 13th pickups back in the day. But yeah, there's definitely weird occurrences and weird chains of events, I guess would be the best way to phrase it. But yeah, there's always unique occurrences, and you never really truly know what to expect, especially coming into, well, actually, really any full moon. It's not just on if it's a Friday the 13th. You always saw that.
But then again, a full moon on a Friday the 13th always seems to be something that it's almost like you just stepped into the twilight zone.
No, I've had some that are really uneventful.
Oh, I remember pulling CQ on Friday the 13th that were full moons, and I almost felt like I needed counseling afterwards. But then again, these were also barracks.
Well, that sounds like a Lovecraftian alignment of unfortunate circumstances that create a massive event.
Yeah. it's, I mean, some of them, I don't even want to think about some of the stuff that we've witnessed. And it's definitely what were you thinking?
They weren't.
It
That's probably
started,
what happened. They weren't thinking.
Well, I can say this.
yeah.
I can say this for the barracks. A lot of times it wasn't what they were thinking; it's what they were drinking.
Well, it went from what were you thinking to were you thinking? Like,
Probably not. Especially when alcohol and drugs are involved. They're not thinking anymore.
yeah, I've seen some pretty a real crazy Friday the 13th one. A guy leaned on a railing on a third floor balcony in an older home,
Oh,
and we were like down the block. We were staging, waiting because it was an area where a lot of events occurred. Dude fell, landed flat on his back, got up and walked away.
okay.
Was it grass, soil, concrete?
He landed. There's a little bit of a hill.
Mhm.
Maybe I'd say the hill was probably 6 feet across. It went down. Across 6 foot, it went down about 3 feet, 3.5 feet. He fell. He hit the roof, hit the second tiered roof,
Oh,
landed
okay.
flat, landed flat on his back, and he got up and he walked away. And we got they called us, and then we went over. We went and examined him, brought him in to get X-rays and checked out, and we looked at the house, and he goes, "Yeah." He's like, "I just fell from there." And we got all the story. We had the same story from how many different people. And the doctor's like, "There's no way you should be alive."
What was he as
Huh?
think as you, was he as think as you drunk he was?
0.00.
Really?
Okay.
Because I've seen
Well,
drunk people survive quite a bit.
well, one, I'm glad you actually got that joke without going, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
And two, wow.
Exactly. And that was on a Friday the 13th. Like,
Oh.
we were all dumbfounded about that.
Somebody
Sean,
must have saved up their karma.
Right.
Sean, what was the most bizarre thing you ever encountered when you were in the Army on Friday the 13th?
I mean, really, there is nothing that I can recall.
Really?
Like I said, I think the weirdest thing I ever saw was I did security off duty for a bar locally, and every Friday the 13th, the DJ he would bring his katana with him because
Okay.
he's like, well, if something's gonna happen, I
It's
want
going
this
to be
with me.
tonight.
Well, yeah, well, katana versus axe wielding maniac. You might stand a good chance, but cordless hole punchers are better. But
Yeah.
you've seen all the slasher films. Cordless hole punchers don't do shit.
Nope.
But if you could take the head with a very sharp object, you probably stand a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any weird or really awkward Friday the 13th stories other than that, unfortunately.
I've got a
Yeah.
disturbing one that's also a CQ story.
Let's hear it.
On Fort Hood, I was pulling CQ on a Friday the 13th in October on a full moon. And one of the people in the third floor was a Wiccan who just decided that that would be the appropriate night to do one of their ceremonies.
Wait, was this a patient or a
This
staff?
this was after I got out of the medical corps. This is
Okay.
when I was pulling CQ in a barracks.
Oh, oh no, 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 no.
I
Go.
I go to do my checks at around midnight. I see that he has taken what looks like black tallow and formed a easily removable pentagram on the ground. And he's doing some kind of ceremony. I go up to him and I'm like, dude, I know this is your religion. I know that this is of importance to you, but can you at least move it to where the rest of the barracks can't see what you're doing? Because I can guarantee you everyone else in here is going to want to use you as target practice the next time we go to the range.
I mean, yeah, if you're summoning Moloch, they're not gonna like you very much.
Yeah, he was he was just like, well, I'd really rather not, but okay, you're cool. I'll go ahead and do it. And like, thank you.
Yeah, Broken Pine and I are same mind.
Yeah,
Yep.
I may not be a believer of it, but I do not want to tempt fate because
yeah.
that's how everybody dies in the movies. They're like, "Oh, this shit ain't real. This shit ain't real." All of a sudden, it's real in the movie.
And usually the first one getting offed is the person who all throughout the beginning of the film was like, look, nothing's going to happen. It ain't real.
Mhm.
Well, I remember I was working in EMS. It was a Friday the 13th. We were pulling third shift, and we got on like 10:30, 11 o'clock. Got out, and I remember dispatcher comes through, and they're like, "We have the weirdest request, and municipal EMS refuses to go on the call.
Okay.
They've called 4 other ambulances out to go do a wellness check. All of them,
Isn't that a cop's job?
well, the police were there, but the police refused to enter the property.
What the?
That's their primary job when EMS shows up, is to ensure the scene is safe.
Okay, I have to ask this question. Was the
Yeah.
house doing like the last scene of The Exorcist?
No.
Yeah.
The sheriff's deputies were the ones that got there, and the sheriff's deputies walked around the property, and they came running faster. And they ran faster than Forrest Gump, and they went right past their patrol car, and they were gone. It was like dead out. Like these dudes, they saw something behind the house, and they split. And
What was this? Was this the Dietz home and somebody summoned Beetlejuice or something?
no, the house was built in the 1870s, 1880s. It was
Uh-oh.
an old manor home that had about 6 or 8 acres. It was an old family home. In the backyard, there was a family graveyard.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
What happened is a distant relative got extremely inebriated, meandered their way, and passed out in the family graveyard in the backyard.
Okay.
Hmm.
Nobody had the balls to go up and to go for a proof of life check.
Got to be kidding me.
No. And it was on a Friday the 13th in October.
Oh my God.
It was the Friday the 13th.
I think he means ESP.
Yeah, but we get up there and they called like the fire department. They're like, nope, we're not going in there. We've had way too many weird things happen in this place. Everyone's like, nope, we're not going in there. Nope, we're not going in there. The cops wouldn't go past the front gate because I guess that this property was pretty well known for weird things happening. And a couple of the other guys are like round the corner with their lights and they're looking, they're like, nope, we're not going there. Like you see a body laying out face down among all the jacked up headstones and everything. They're like, nope, we're not going there. Nope, we're not going there. And a lot of the other medics are like, we're not going to go there unless, you know, deputy or law enforcement goes to check for a pulse. And the deputies and everybody else is like, nope, those new deputies that came by when they saw that body laying there face down. I remember we were just getting there and these guys like gun belt on and all. These guys were like, you swear there's a bakery across the street that just made fresh donuts. These guys were in an all-out sprint. And I remember we get there and I'm like, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? So me and the guy I was working with, we go back there and we're like, all right. And the deputies come around. They're like, he's over there and shining their lights. I'm like, dude, I don't have a light on me. I'm like, can I borrow your light? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, fine. Just stand there and hold it and shine it for me. And there's probably 100-yard walk into the darkness. And I got a med bag over my shoulder and I go out. And as soon as I get over there, hand on the neck, okay, we got a pulse. I'm like, all right. I'm like, he's breathing. And all of a sudden, the dude's eyes popped open. He's like, huh? And everybody screamed like little schoolgirls and took off running.
Oh, that would have been a sight to see.
It probably looked like the library scene from the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I'm sitting here in the middle of an old family graveyard in a private plot in the backyard of a house with no lights. And I got like a 30-pound med bag over my shoulder. Dude's got grass stuck to his face. And I could smell vodka. I could smell gin. I could smell stale beer. I couldn't get a BAC on them out there. I had to call them like, hey guys, like, you know, get me a light. I need to get this guy out of here. So my buddy, we went back. We got the we call it stair chair. So we use for like immobilize people and bring them downstairs.
Yeah, I've seen those.
So we get the guy up. We get him in the stair chair. We pick him up just to make our lives easier to walk him out. We get him back into the bus and we get some lighter on the guy and he's like he's got grass stuck to his face and just as, like everybody's starting to calm down. We got him, you know, right at the back. We got lights on. We're checking them all out. God, was his BAC like a 0.28?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like
That's
dude
almost
was damn near dead.
That's almost to the point of the joke. I've got too much blood in my alcohol stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you mean Jimmy's Pops appreciation stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
This dude was worse than that. But we get him back there. We get him laying down, and the deputies are asking him questions, you know, doing his ID and everything. And dude you watch all the color come out of his face, and he just projectile vomits all over everybody and everything. And everybody just like, it was like the instantaneous like 4-year-old girl scream, freak out and run again. It's like, I saw it happen 3 times to go and do that pickup on the Friday the 13th. And my buddy that we worked together for that, we still laugh about that.
Oh God!
It's just one of those weird, crazy calls you go on. It was like Friday the 13th, like you never expected. Have you ever heard a sheriff's deputy scream like a little girl?
Never heard a sheriff's deputy do that, but I have heard an infantryman do that.
But yeah, it was just hilarious. But like,
God.
you know, there's a ton of events like that occur that you just kind of chuckle about it and laugh about it. And like, you try to tell people, you know, you remember that occurring and everyone's like, no way. I'm like, oh yeah.
Well,
There was another Friday the 13th pickup. We had, dude was hammered drunk and I don't know if he was streaking through a neighborhood or what, but that's how we found him, naked as a jaybird in a cemetery. quite literally with his peg D in the dirt.
Okay. Have you heard about these penguins that are so overly desperate that they will utilize anything and everything to complete?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You literally brought that.
including the unprocessed meat that might be on the ground somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking the hole in the ground or organic
Yeah.
cranial cases from expired animals.
Sticking peg D in the dirt. Yeah.
Yeah, you literally brought that to mind. I'm gonna have to watch that Casual Geographic video again one of these
Don't
days.
ask me.
Hilarious.
Don't ask me how this dude did it, but he was naked as a jaybird,
It happened.
quite literally. That's why when anybody ever says that phrase, I just have to chuckle because unfortunately I had to go and pick those up.
No.
No, see, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say this. Yeah, every job has weirdness that you run into. It could be the most mundane task in the world, e.g., being a receptionist at some boring company. But
Yeah.
everyone who's ever worked any kind of job for more than 6 weeks will have some kind of story of absolute insanity and weirdness that occurred at XYZ location.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And it just seems to me that military, police, medical, and similar type jobs, and I'm going to also include taxi drivers in this because I've talked to more than a few of them.
Yeah.
They've got stories that leave you going, what did I just walk into?
Well, actually, it's funny. Yeah, you mentioned cabbies. I remember we were staging. It wasn't a Friday the 13th, but it was around fall time, September, October, November time frame. We're sitting, waiting, waiting for some of the frequent flyers to call in again, and we're just hanging out, and all of a sudden, yellow cab pulls up by us, rolls the window down. He's like, "Hey," he goes, "I think you guys should carry the one I have instead of me." And and the dude had about the same structure as a wet noodle. Pat just passed out in the back of the cab.
Passed out and
So
floppy to handle.
yeah. So we that tried to rouse him, tried to smelling salts, nothing worked. Like, all right, well, we got a pulse. We'll package them up and we'll send them out. And Mando, when I say wrap them like a burrito, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I've seen that once or twice, having to unwrap a couple of them.
Yeah, the white wrap that's kind of contains bodily fluids and things.
It's basically saran wrap for humans.
Yeah, like, picture a tortilla the size that you can roll a person up in, and it's waterproof, so water doesn't get out of it. So we wrapped this dude up. We put him into the hospital. We put him in, loaded him in, took him to the closest hospital. We're like, hey, public intox, found a guy outside. Here he is. And just as soon as this young nurse, I can remember, I close my eyes and I can picture her to this day. I can't remember her name, but she wheels a guy over and she's like, all right, well, let's see what we're working with. And just as soon as she unwraps him, dude just started pissing everywhere. Just like burst pipe.
Oh,
like
wow.
just spraying everywhere. And I remember she's like, oh my God, it's in my mouth. we were laughing so hard. But the guy, he was like out cold drunk, and he had no idea what happened.
The
Crusader,
body
Yeah.
functions when
Yep.
you're not conscious.
Yeah.
Crusader, you will laugh at this more than likely. You reminded me of this story my dad told a couple of months back. He finally told me a couple of things that he dealt with when he was an EMS driver for God only knows how long at this point.
Yeah.
And he goes, there's a term that EMS, at least in this area, use and IT uses that even though they don't mean anything, or even though they technically are the same word, they don't exactly mean the same thing per se. It's like, oh, what do you mean? He goes, if you ever hear an EMS guy talk about a floppy, it's not a 3.5-inch disc.
Might on some of them.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I'll have to remember that. I don't do anything with EMS anymore, but I'll remember that one. And
Oh,
Crusader, you reminded me of that with that story.
oh yeah. Dude, I've seen more than my fair share of drunk, naked people passed out in public.
Okay,
I mean, it doesn't surprise me anymore.
Sean, how many times
Yeah.
did you go to a dining out when you were still in the service?
Not way too often.
What?
But if it was, it was most likely the Waffle House.
No, I mean the official unit dining outs where they had everyone get into their dress uniform.
Oh,
and go
okay,
that,
so like ball
yeah,
or something like
yeah, that idiotic formal ball every unit.
Oh, there's always a handful of dudes who just literally they treat the grog not as a sip, but as a I'm just gonna throw my face in there and chug until I can't no more.
Now, I asked that question to open the door for this one. How many times did you have to deal with the streak?
Like somebody streaking?
Yes, literally.
No, never did that. Me and a couple of other buddies after one of those because we were in we'd always had them in Savannah, Georgia when I was in the line units stationed out of Stewart. And Savannah is a fucking party town. You go down Bay Street, man. Um, on the weekend, it's always loaded. Holidays, you're lucky if you get a beer within an hour. On a normal weekend, a 30-minute wait. We had one guy who just got so blitz drunk. We were told, "Hey, come here." I'm like, what? Why? What's going on? Oh, we gotta go. We gotta go get. We gotta go get Drayton. We gotta go. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? We go into the men's bathroom. He's at one of the toilets. Puke is everywhere and on him. And Drake is not a small person. He's like a 6-foot black dude who's probably about 230, 240. And I am like 5'10, 166 pounds. Me and a couple other guys picked him up, put him over our shoulders, drove him home. It was really hard to get him to his barracks because he didn't remember his key, or not his key, but the punch code, because we had those doors where you got like digit punches.
Yeah, I remember those.
Like after enough guessing, we finally got him in, and it was like, oh, so glad not to deal with that anymore.
Now,
Well, go ahead, Mando.
here's the question I'm going to ask you. Was he still at least mostly attired?
Mostly, yes.
I
Although we were so nice as to take all of his vomit soaked clothes off for him. We were like, you're going to do that yourself.
Okay, now I bring that up for this reason. In Germany, the first active duty dining out that I had to go to, for e.g., the formal ball or whatever term you want to use for it, there was one young field medic who, let's just say he liked the German beer a little too much. And by the time the night ended, I think Michelangelo's David was wearing more than he was.
Well, Amanda, I got one for you that'll probably make you laugh. I don't know. When we went in, we were escorted in by MPs.
Oh no.
They did
Oh,
not
that's always
want.
a good start.
They didn't want anything discussed. They didn't want anything on base. They didn't want any on base personnel to witness what we had to come in and pick up.
Oh, that's always how the good stories start.
It was some kind of command change officer gala party.
Okay.
When we went in, everybody was in like a very much like a tux version of a uniform.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
The lowest rank I saw there was a colonel.
Oh no. This is only getting
Full
better.
bird or lieutenant colonel?
Full bird.
Oh no.
I already have an idea where this is going. Please.
Oh no, you don't. Oh no, you don't.
Oh, that means it's
There was-
probably worse then.
I'm intrigued.
There was someone who went missing. The MPs couldn't find them.
Oh.
They called off-site medical in case of medical emergency, so nothing got out on the base.
Mm-hmm.
So we were out there, and you have a bunch of people, a bunch of officers scouring the parking lots, the local grassy knoll or whatever you would choose to name it. We found said individual naked as a jaybird. We actually found a shoe here, a sock there, a bow tie here. We found ribbon here, ribbon, like things were just like scattered, almost like a breadcrumb trail, close to half a mile away.
Okay.
We found said 3-star.
Oh no.
Peg D in the dirt.
Another one.
Beer bottle inserted in slot B.
Oh.
Did he do that willingly, or did some of the enlisted just decide to crash the party?
That's how we found him.
Oh.
Oh, God. Okay, that took a little bit of a turn that I didn't expect.
You're right. We did not expect that.
See, stories like that usually, okay, you'll hear about a colonel doing that occasionally, but that's usually lower level officers and enlisted up till about E6 that you hear doing stuff like that.
We don't know how it happened, but we were escorted off the base to a local hospital. Then we got a call at the end of our shift in the morning. I think it was like 5:15, 5:30. We only had like an hour or two left of our shift. We had to go back and meet another a 3-star that told us we weren't there. We didn't see anything. We have no idea what it was. You didn't see anything, you didn't say anything, nobody knows what you're talking about. If anyone ever says they saw you here, it wasn't you.
So basically, you had the thing at the end of most of Rhino streams. What you saw didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Pretty much.
Okay, now I am going to ask the obvious follow-up question that you may or may not know the answer to.
Yeah.
where the spouse is present.
I don't know.
Sean knows where this is going.
Oh, no.
Sean knows.
They gossip more than Joe Network.
Say that
Well,
again.
They gossip more than Joe Network.
Yep.
they had when we came in, all we saw was everybody in uniform all piled into one room into one corner. And there were MPs over there. We were brought in, we could see them at a distance. Probably 30, 40 yards away. In a building.
So the answer to that then is probably no spouses were present. Because if everyone you saw was in uniform or uniform like apparel,
Yeah.
that means they didn't have any dependents in there more than likely.
No, I really honestly wasn't focusing. Like, I saw them on it, I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of people in like a formal uniform. And someone went, and they're like, all right, well, someone went missing. We're asking questions. We're talking to everybody, and we're like, what are we looking for? Like, if something happened, we don't want this getting out anywhere. That's why you're here.
Usually that's what a sergeant major is for, because then he delegates that to the or the E4 mafia, and the mafia funds them.
Yeah,
But the mafia's not going to be quiet about it.
Well,
No.
They're going to use that as leverage.
Well, hold on. The E4 Mafia, let's just be honest here. If they were called in to help locate said officer, they would stay quiet until such time as that officer did something that they found unacceptable.
There may or may not be photographic evidence of what occurred.
Exactly.
There's most certainly photographic evidence.
But yeah, I remember we're like looking in the the ferns, the underbrush, we're like, where the like, oh shit, here's a piece of brass. Oh, what the hell? Oh, this is a back of a pin. Oh, what's this? Like, we were out there for a couple of hours. And I remember my buddy Darren, where he's on my right hand side, and I'm walking down, I'm looking on the left hand side of this pathway. He just backhands me right in the shoulder. He's like, dude, look. And he shines his light out. All you see is a bright white moon and an inverted beer bottle. And I just lost it. And we both just bust out laughing. And probably, I don't know, maybe 50 feet behind us were some of the MPs. Like, they were like watching what we were doing and looking where we were looking. And all the while he hears, what do you guys see? And Darren just kind of chuckles. He looks, he goes, I found a beer bottle. And these guys like,
That's about the
they're
nice
like, wait,
put it.
they're like, wait right here. And they went, checked, made sure everything was okay. Like, all right, bring the bus back here. Make sure no lights. We don't want to draw any attention.
No attention. Yeah.
Okay, now I have to ask the question, only because I'm sure almost everyone here in the in your audience, and I know everyone on the stream has watched Pop. Is this the definition of anally drunk?
Well,
yes, I know that's been tried before, and that's a bad idea.
very bad idea medically.
Yeah, I'm aware.
But
oh god.
yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
After the day I had, I needed a story that would make me laugh. So thank you for going above and beyond. Holy.
But this one, even our nightly logs of pickup, what we picked up, case, we always had to have a case log of and a pickup log of who we picked up, where, basic synopsis of what was the deal, what did we have to do, and we had to submit that for billing and everything. When we came in to do our paperwork and to close everything out at the end of our shift, somebody already called our boss and said we weren't there.
Oh no.
Oh, but there's records.
There
were records.
Our handwritten notes and everything from our driver logs and our med logs. They shredded them right in front of us.
Alrighty then.
Hopefully that
Don't
means
ask-
you guys didn't miss out on money.
Yeah, we they pulled our logs from us, and I could pretty much. I mean, it's one of the funnier med calls I've ever gone on. But yeah, don't ask me who the dude was. Don't ask me. And like, I knew when we went out there. This was going to be one of those, if you're going to recover something, this is something you're not going to want to remember or want to talk about. So I wasn't really looking too much into the details.
Well, let's just be
the
honest.
less you know, the better.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. If it was a 3-star general that you picked up, and this was some promotion ceremony for high ranking or promotion celebration for high rankers, and he would, well, like I said, he was a 3-star high rankers. Yep. No one wanted any record. That might have been the post commander.
I have no idea.
I'm not asking you to speculate.
Yeah.
I'm making a speculation so you don't have to.
Yeah, but I remember, when we got called back out there, the colonel, there was a colonel in uniform at the front gate, and he was like, "All right," he goes, "You guys weren't here. We didn't see any." They're like, "Nope."
That was probably the adjutant.
Like, we come by here all the time.
Oh no.
But yeah, like, we're always up and down the road, right past this place all the time. But yeah, it was not. It was one thing that I'll never forget. I mean, there's another same base. We had to come and pick up a couple of naked, drunken disorderlies on the officers' golf course.
It's always fun.
Yeah, someone, well, not a hole in one, but put one in a hole.
Ran into that a lot, didn't you?
Yeah, that was like, okay.
Oh, got another one.
Yeah, the naked drunken disorderlies were almost a weekly, if not a nightly occurrence.
Oh, I can imagine with the EMS.
But what I'm getting at specifically with the you get that or got that a lot was the appendage in locations that wasn't supposed to be utilized for that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, but yeah, the drunken disorderlies, the naked drunken disorderlies out in public were a regular thing. I know another one that we had was a drunk college girl. She was ambulatory, but she was just so inebriated she had no idea what she was doing. And she's kind of staggering around.
Those chicks are always fun.
Is it safe to say that in addition to what she was doing, she didn't know who she was doing?
She wasn't aware of what her body was doing. We'll just leave it there.
Oh, that's fair.
Because she got local PD got her for a drunken disorderly, stopped her, ID'd her, everything, called us. We went out to pick her up. Breathalyzer did everything, but vitals, got all the fun stuff. Get her in the bus, get her to lay down in the back, and she Amber Hearded in the ambulance.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. This doesn't have anything directly to do with alcohol or technically with medical, but it kind of tangentially relates. And Crusader, you'll probably laugh your butt off. Sean, you might want a vomit bucket. I was
I
running a
got my wastebasket next to me.
CS chamber, and part of the briefing that people would get before a CS chamber was make sure you don't go overboard with any celebrations the night before, because you don't want to go into a chamber with a hangover.
There's always one, if not 5 or 6.
This was an infantry company.
So almost all of them.
So everybody.
Pretty much. And remember, when I mix up the CS for my chambers, I make it strong. I make sure everyone gets a taste.
Oh no.
Well, this was the first batch to go in, so they had the 2 pellet primer, and then essentially they had 3 pellets total that was being burned for when they went in.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah. Well, the first one cracks his seal to give his last 4 and immediately hurls all over the floor.
And then you have a cascade because everybody saw it.
I look at everyone else in the room. I'm like, any of you puke on me, you're buying me a new uniform and boots.
Oh, that's so cheap.
Yeah. Now, guess the rank of the individual that lost his breakfast.
E6, staff sergeant.
He was the platoon sergeant for this.
Ooh.
Oh.
Now, the next guy in line.
Have a good one.
The next guy in the line was the PL, a butter bar.
Oh, he's new. He's green.
And
More
so,
worse than one.
and so was what covered my uniform when he cracked the seal.
Oh. Hey, he's an officer. He's got money.
Now bear in mind, I was standing an additional 6 inches away from him after his platoon sergeant nearly covered my boots.
Oh, I just projectiled it.
He projectiled worse than the girl from The Exorcist. And it looked about the same.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
The rest of the squad that was in there didn't even get their masks off. And it started all down the chamber.
That's where you just open the door and say, everybody out now.
That's pretty much exactly what happened. And I was just like,
oh, Charles, come on.
Yeah, pea soup.
Yeah, that's actually what it looked like. What made matters worse is I had a borderline immunity to CS at that point, so I didn't have a mask on, and it was basically psychological warfare on these guys.
Oh no!
That turned into psychological warfare on me because of the odor.
Oh
yeah,
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Especially in a hot room like the NBC room.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I go out to where my NCOIC and OIC are sitting there shooting the shit and keeping track of the paperwork. And I just looked at them and go, is it fair to say that I've earned a 3-day for this one? They look at me and I am covered from name tape all the way down with green.
Oh. I'd give you a 3-day. Hell, I'd make it a 4-day weekend.
Oh,
but that's why I'm not in charge.
The two of them looked at me. They looked at my uniform. They looked at the platoon that was coming out, just dripping pea soup out of their masks, and they go, "Yeah, I think you're entitled to that. You've earned it."
Yeah, at least you can get that company to clean up the mess that they made too.
Oh, I specifically designated that squad to clean out the interior of the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Crusader,
Yeah.
when you clear a rifle range, you go through and you pick up all the brass and you make sure everything is put away nice and neat for the next group.
Yeah.
When you do a grenade range, you're going through making sure all the spoons are picked up, all the pins are picked up, and if anything that was thrown too close, you rake the sand so it gives a nice orderly appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Guess one of the things you have to do with a CS chamber when you clear that?
Well, you gotta account for every person, every mask, every. You gotta make sure as if nothing is there, and you leave it exactly as you found it.
The room itself, what do you think you have to do with it?
Well, probably either sweep or mop or shovel whatever's on the floor and get it out of there.
We had to, on Fort Riley, you had to pressure wash it at the time.
Yeah,
That sounds about right.
Now,
that just smell wonderful.
yeah, the company did not have a pressure washer. So that squad,
Oh, no.
they were in there with their camelbacks hosing their mess down for 4.5 hours.
That's where
Fun
you
times.
just get a requisition. You tell your supply guy, I don't care what you have to do. Find me a pressure washer. I don't care if you steal it from the wash rack. You get it now.
Oh, no, what I actually told the supply guy was to make sure that the next time those guys come through, they bring plastic sheeting to put on the floor.
That's a good idea. Also, welcome to the stream, Bob. Glad to see you here.
Ugh.
But I think we are going to we're going to end it on that note before
things get crazier.
before the audience goes, you know what? I'm out. I'm already drunk, and
Well,
they feel that sensation coming up just by listening.
well, it's not like me or Crusader have given them stories that would be nightmare fueled yet.
Keyword yet, which is why I'm gonna rip up StreamYard's link because I recognize everybody in chat, and you're welcome for the after party. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off because Roxy has been very patient. She wants to go outside. We've been at this for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm pretty sure YouTube doesn't want to hear any more of this or
No,
us
probably not.
people. So I'll go ahead and I'll kill it, and we will do it backstage. But beforehand, anybody have any final words?
Nope.
Nope.
No. All right. Well, it's a Friday the 13th stream. We probably should not have final words considering well, the holiday, not holiday, but the nature of the day. So
Well,
we'll just
hang on. I'm gonna ask the question that ended the original Friday the 13th. What about the boy?
oh, that's right.
anyone who's seen the original Friday the 13th knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep. Most people forget Jason's not the original.
Well, technically, he was in the last frame.
Yes. But it was his psycho mom doing most of the work for the first movie. All right.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and get out of here. I'll just cut the stream. No Owl Kitty tonight. And then we will go ahead and see you in the after party. Have a good night, gents. Thank you, panel, for showing up. And everybody have a good and safe weekend. Don't add to the population. Don't take away from it. And if you end up in jail, establish dominance.